Hi everyone and welcome to our PiPsCast.
Hello.
If you're new here, we are Elaine and Darren and we've been living here in central Portugal for coming up to a year now. If you're new to our PiPsCasts, it's our podcast. We just sit here, have a little chat with you guys, and that's pretty much it. Not a lot of editing. If we have some clips we might pop them in, but it's really just a simple chat with you. So this week, as I'm sure you are all aware from our previous video, we've had a fire very, very close to us. Literally
In our village.
in our village, yeah. Maybe 100 yards away from here, maybe. Yeah, and it got quite big quite quickly. So we're going to talk to you today a little bit about that. Yeah.
What we wanted to do, the short video that we made and put out on Saturday, because the fire happened on the Friday evening. The short video that we put out on Saturday was literally just our initial reaction to what happened. So firstly, we'd like to start by saying a few thank yous. A thank you to everyone who watched and who commented and shared your concern and sent us best wishes. That was really, really heartfelt, so thank you very much. What we didn't do was reply or respond to any of the comments. We read every single one. We felt it was inappropriate while the fire was still going on.
It's okay. That's right. So we felt it was a bit inappropriate to thank people and all of those sorts of things. It just didn't quite feel right. There were a few things that really didn't feel quite right, and we didn't know why they didn't feel right, but we just had to go with the feeling at the time, really, didn't we? And that was what we did. We just went with what we felt at the time. So we thought, we can't respond to one person and not to another. It just all got a bit too much, I suppose, over and above everything else. So we didn't respond, but we did read everyone, as Elaine said, and thank you to everyone. Your support was amazing. And still is.
And also thank you to all of the firefighters, the bomberos.
We've seen them around here quite a lot recently. Yeah, we have seen them around here a lot. Just this morning, they're still here. Amazing job. Yeah, just amazing. I mean, just to kind of for me, I don't know, trying to put it into perspective is very, very difficult. Trying to understand it's very, very difficult. Trying to be in that situation is difficult to kind of understand where to place yourself, I suppose.
Obviously, the first day or so from the fire actually arriving in the village, everybody, including us, we were sort of just on adrenaline, and it was just go and observing all the time. You couldn't really switch off. That's how it was for me. And on that Friday night, difficult to get my words and everything, still difficult to get how I was thinking and feeling into words that I can put out. But the fire just arrived. It was just there instantly. And we still don't know how it was started. We still actually, after our initial chats and what have you, and with neighbours on Friday night, we're not even sure that it actually started here now, from what the bomberos have been saying. But it was literally so fast, and it just was here, and we were dealing with it, and those hours just disappeared really quickly, didn't they? And they had to keep going with the fire because the fire was moving so quickly, with the wind and everything. So after the initial noise and shock it then sort of was just left to us to manage like the little area where we were working, you know. Some people were working here, some people were working here, that kind of thing. And then all the professionals just basically, they were off moving, chasing and fighting the fire up the hill, over the next hill. It was so fast and grew, like you said, so quickly, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we didn't really have any time to process that, but then over Saturday and Sunday the village sort of fell into quietness, but there was still a lot of fire engines and water trucks and vehicles all coming and going. There was a big command centre set up in the main village, SARZEDAS, just a few kilometres up the road, so that they could sort of have an overview and direct resources where they needed to go. Everything was just boom, organised. As soon as basically the fire had gone out of our village, there was this huge lorry arrived, a low loader with a massive tractor on it. And it was basically scraping all the earth around the edges of the fire so that it couldn't reignite or couldn't creep any further.
Creep further
out.
They dug a pathway basically,
literally
from the
where
edge.
there hadn't been one before.
There hadn't been one before, so where the edge of the fire had got to, so it had been doused at that point. They'd literally driven a tractor through to clear that land, so there was this like I don't know, a couple of metres wide strip basically, so that hopefully the fire,
and it literally just
jump.
sort of went through the village. It went up one hill and through the forest and off. And I couldn't sleep at all on Friday night, but by Saturday night I was completely exhausted and just like zonked out, because I felt much more calm and I could see that things were less immediate for us. Obviously the fire was still going further on and was affecting other people, and we've since heard from friends and from neighbours further out in other villages and towns that it's had such a far reach. Such a far reach, hasn't it?
It's gone quite the distance. We took a drive, just a little drive outside of the village, not very far, about 3 or 4 kilometres, and you can see just in the distance how big it was, because I think we were in it in the centre, well, at the beginning technically, but because we were here we didn't see the vast expanse of where it was going. We could just see it go over the hill, as Elaine said, just here, and it kind of disappeared, but you can still see the smoke. But when we drove out we could see it was quite fast. And
all the way up the road, we sort of have a main road, I call it, and it's basically just gone. That will be the road that we take to go out and off west to go to lots of different places. So there's a town up there called Formosa, and for us that takes a good 30-minute drive. And it was there as well. This
is what we've been told by somebody we know. We haven't been through that far.
Yeah, we haven't gone that far.
But we know somebody who lives there and said that it was very, very close to them.
Yeah, they were being affected as well.
So it's definitely bigger than we, I don't know, anticipated. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say now. It was huge. Okay.
And just because once it had been put out here didn't mean that it couldn't reignite. So on Saturday and Sunday we had at least 3 occasions where it reignited itself. The temperature over the last few days since the fire has increased. We've had like regular 42 degrees centigrade days, and so at least on 2 occasions it's reignited just here right in the village. because it's still so hot. And there was also one yesterday, but must have been when we were out. But he said today the SARZEDAS, the watchtower, picked that one up. So people were already on their way, and the planes were already with the water before he came out and was ready to was phoning them. They were already on their way.
Right. Because they spotted it.
Yeah. So they're saying it's already out.
Oh, okay.
It was. They don't know exactly, but maybe it's like a tree stump that's been sunk down, and
see a lot of them.
Just like the heat.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a bit of fuel still in there. So.
Well, when I went walking with Max this morning, just down here, there was still smoke coming out of the ground in certain places.
Yeah. Because the roots of trees go well down, far down into the ground, and they were still burning away under the ground. There was still plumes of smoke coming up in all different areas. But what happens is they have people on standby around the perimeter, and we have had at least one fire truck in the village ever since the fire came through. So, we've never been left, we've never had to just phone anybody up to say it's reignited. Yeah.
They're there now.
They're there now still this morning.
Yeah, looked like they were camping out last night.
And they're regularly being changed, rotated from all over the place.
Yeah, they're just being in specific places, so if they get the call, they can be near enough, I suppose, to get there quickly. I think that's the idea, isn't it, really?
So, there's a big watchtower as well, which is kilometres away from us. When it's clear, we can see it on top of the mountain, and it looks like a tiny little Lego thing, like this big. But we've been there, and we've driven all the way up the mountain, and then climbed all the way up the SARZEDAS Talhada, which is the watchtower. And on one occasion on Sunday, the watchtower actually picked up that the fire had reignited in the village and directed the people who were here on the ground straight in to deal with it. So
you saw a plume of smoke coming.
Yes,
there was something happening
yeah.
over in the village over this side, and Elaine went out and saw this smoke starting just on the brow of the hill over this way behind you guys. And you said you're going to go and report that, and you went and reported it to the people over here who were working, and they were already on it because they'd spotted it from the tower.
Although the firefighters have moved on because they've got to stay with the fire, there were tree stumps with live flames in them. Yeah. So, but no fuel around them.
Yeah. That's it, isn't it?
Because everything was just burnt. Yeah.
I just thought, just a little plume of smoke, because you see lots of little smokes around, as Elaine said, from the bottoms of the trees. There's another little one there, another little one there. And I thought that's what this was going to be, but quite quickly that got bigger.
Yeah.
Again, the smoke got more within about a minute or two.
It's Sunday afternoon, about 3 p.m, back out again. I don't know whether that's the spot that I told them about before, when the fire reignited at Peter's. But they're still on the scene, but I can see the flames from here. The planes have already been over and dropped one lot of water. Hopefully they'll be straight back. I know they're still fighting the fire that's gone further on, but at least people are hands on straight away. I heard the plane coming over, and it literally just was just the height of the trees, and then it dropped all the water. So I think what they're doing now is dousing the land all around where the thing reactivated. Yeah. But they've been on the ground with extinguishers and beaters and stuff, and yeah. So where are we now? It's been a very quiet night. It's been nice and peaceful. We check regularly on, for those of you that don't know, there's an app that you have on your phone, and it tells you about what's happening with any fires here in Portugal. And at the moment, as of it was updated just after midnight, so shall I say it this morning, the 8th of August, and so we're now coming into what's called in conclusion. So it's not an ongoing and active fire. They feel as though they have everything under control, that it's in conclusion, and they're just basically watching it all the time, seeing if the ground's going to reignite, seeing if there's any change in the situation. But saying that, there's still 500 firefighters and 167 vehicles involved in just that maintenance of it. So at the peak of it on Saturday, there were almost 1,200 firefighters involved, and 400 vehicles, and that doesn't include the planes and the helicopters that were involved as well. So the app gives lots of different details about what's actually going on and who's involved. And one of the updates on Saturday said that there was a perimeter of 60 kilometres that they were working on, where the fire was still active, and that so far on that day there had been 7,065 hectares affected by the fire. So that might give you a bit of, for those of you who can visualise what a hectare is, then that might give you an idea as to the size of area that's been affected, the number of villages, the number of people who have, you know, had land and possibly their homes affected as well.
Well, we got in touch with some people quite local to us that had mentioned that some friends of theirs had been evacuated by the firefighters, by the bomberos, because it was encroaching, the fire was encroaching on them from different directions. So yeah, it's that kind of brings it home, things like that, where you have to like literally get helped out of the situation that you're in. That kind of drove it home a little bit. So I'll pop in a little clip here of a very small part of the work that the bomberos do, but it was kind of, when I filmed it, I was just filming it thinking this is pretty cool. I've watched it back a few times since and thought of the larger scale of what this is actually, what it's meaning, and kind of, I'll pop the clip in.
Okay, I think we're going to leave it there. So thank you very much for watching. Everybody deals with these situations in their own way, and everybody sees them from a completely different perspective. So what we wanted to do with this was just sort of give our one tiny perspective on how we saw it and how it affected us. Everybody deals with things in their own way, but thank you very much for being there for us. We also wanted to say that we don't want to dwell on this. We're going to move on. It might seem strange when our next video comes out, but if you can imagine, we make videos a little bit ahead of time. So for us, when the next videos come out, and we're all happy and jolly, it's because they were filmed before the fire happened. Not that we're going to be sad and miserable on all of the future ones, because life's just too short to do that. However, just so it doesn't seem like, you know, oh, we've instantly got over that and everything's better. Yeah. They were filmed beforehand, and so
the next couple of videos have already been filmed before this happened, but we've had a little bit of a schedule change. Yes. That's really what's happened here. Yeah. Is we've had to move the videos around a little bit. So so that's really the way it's going to be. So the next video is a little bit of more of a cheery video. It's a dedicated video to the bird feeder that I've been talking about for quite a long time. So I'm really excited to share that one with you. But for now, thank you very much for everything, and for all of your lovely comments and support. As Elaine said, it's just been brilliant. So we'll leave it there. Yeah.
Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye bye, everybody. Bye. Bye bye.
Do you want to move in a bit, get a thumbnail, or?
Go for a thumbnail. Don't do a funny face.
I'm not doing any faces.